Good morning. Namaste to each of you. Thank you for joining me this morning to honor your mind and your body and your spirit. Let's take a moment to become present. Find a nice, comfortable seated position where your spine can be nice and long and tall, back of your neck reaching for the sky, opening up your diaphragm, opening up your chest, and opening up your heart. Gently close your eyes and soften your thoughts. Soften your eyes. Soften your shoulders. And soften your heart. Observe your breath as it is, soft and gentle, breathing life into you with each inhale and relaxation with each exhale. Feel the grace of being present and return to that awareness again and again. You may open your eyes now. For this morning's intention, you may think of a positive word or phrase to have with you on your mat and perhaps carry with you throughout the day. This morning's intention I'd like to talk about is the Ayurvedic season that we're in now. Ayurveda is Sanskrit for Aryu, meaning life, and Veda, meaning knowledge, life knowledge. It is an ancient health system over 5,000 years old that is the sister science to yoga. The goal of this science is to keep you in a mind-body balance by identifying your unique energy. These unique energies are called doshas. There's three. One's Vata, V-A-T-A, Pitta, P-I-T-T-A, and Kapha, K-A-L-P-H-A. And in addition to you having your own unique energy, your own dosha, doshas are applied to other things too. And what we're going to talk about is the dosha seasons, this one being Kapha season. And it goes from late winter to early spring. And it's governed by nature's elements of earth and water. So we in Vermont are very familiar in the spring with the combination of earth and water. Think mud season. Its characteristics are cold, wet, and heavy. Think again, being bogged down in the mud. So to create balance, and that's what Ayurveda is all about, is creating that balance, just like yoga is to create balance in your mind, body, and spirit. Ayurveda has that same capabilities. And to create balance in the Kapha season, you would find things that are opposite in nature of the wet, cold, and heavy. So things you would find would be warming, like this. I've been starting our classes the last couple months now with a fresh lemon juice and a touch of raw honey in hot water. And I'm very sensitive to caffeine, so I find that's a wonderful way to start the day and have, if I want a warming beverage throughout the day. Also, because we're in that season of being bogged down, You want to find things that are stimulating. So find new challenges or new adventures to have. You want to be more energized. So we're going to speed up our workouts. Today is going to be a little bit faster than what we've been doing. And we're trying to get that energy moving in us. And also, when you're thinking of the season of being bogged down, you want to do the opposite. So you trying to eliminate and become lighter. So detoxification, whether it's through your diet or doing steam rooms or saunas this time of year, is a wonderful thing. Diet, foods should be things that are bitter, like asparagus, leafy greens, and arugula, astringent, like legumes, and pungent, like spices. So that kind of gets you eliminating and spiced up and lighter. So for my regular group, I'm going to do a connection to a link of an article that I thought was quite interesting. Actually, I can do it on YouTube as well. But it's a nice full article about the Kapha season. And it also gives you specifics because you would tweak that Kapha season based on which dosha you are. And I'm a Pitta Vata dosha. So I would tweak their suggestions for the Kapha season with my doshas. So moving on, our pranayama for today is a great one, a really great one for the Kapha season. It's called Kapalabhati, and it energizes the whole body. It brings lightness and clarity to your mind, cleanses the lungs. If you have in the wintertime, get that mucus build up, it helps to clean that out, and improves circulation and warms the body. So it's, you can see it's the opposite of cold, wet, heavy, being bogged down. We'll do the Kapalabhati. There we go. So with your normal natural breath, your active part of your natural breath more likely is your inhale, and your exhale is more passive. In the Kapalabhati, it's the opposite. It's the inhale is passive and the exhale is very active. We've done this before. So if you kind of put your hands on your tummy and then just breathe in gently, and then we're going to kind of push our tummy in with our hands and forcibly, you may want to have a tissue handy, forcibly exhale through our nose. So then you would pause. Don't want to get too lightheaded with this. So you pause for a few moments, go back to your natural breath. And you do like 3 series of these to kind of get you rocking and rolling in the morning. So let's just try one more. Again, pushing your hands into your lower abdomen area, or your right below your rib cage, actually. And then stop. And that's a great way if you're doing a cleanse. Actually, use my tissue. If you're doing a cleanse, there's a routine that you would go through in the morning, kind of a holistic type of routine. And Kapalabhati breathing is one of the things that you would do in the morning. So next, our meditation I'm going to suggest doing the Prana Mudra this morning. And the Prana Mudra is bringing your thumb to your pinky and your ring finger. Your pinky is actually a water element. Your ring finger is the earth element, and your thumb is the fire element. And so you have the two, water and earth, kind of overlapped by the fire. And this is an energizing mudra. And it actually is a wonderful mudra for basically all health issues. It's specifically good for eyesight, improving your eyesight. So I've been using this lately because I feel my eyes going a little wacky, getting older. So I'm going to leave you for a few moments to do a mudra, and you can do the Prana Mudra or any one of your choice, and I will meet you on the mat. You can open your eyes now, and we'll start our asana practice. So let's still in our seated position. We'll start with some sun breaths. And again, to balance off, I'm going to inhale up and exhale down. You guys know this drill, so you can just kind of keep doing it, and I'll yak while we're doing that. So to balance the Kapha season, again, what we're going to do with our asana practice this morning is work on the opposites of earth and water, which is air and fire. There we go. And so we're going to keep the practice light, warming, and stimulating with that air and fire. So again, inhale up and exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. Big inhales. And if you want to do a little bit more forcible exhale, the Kapalabhati exhale, you're welcome to do that. This next time we bring the arms up, we're going to turn our torso to the left and bring our arms down for a nice seated twist. And then we'll keep this flow going, raising our arms, bringing them over to the right side. Nice even flow, exhaling as we come down, inhaling back up, twisting our torso to the left, arms come down, exhaling, inhale back up, arms over to the right. Exhale, inhale back up. Twist to the left. Exhale, bring your arms back down. Inhale back up. Twist to the right. Exhale, arms come down. Inhale back up. Twist to the left. Exhale back down. And one last time to the right. Inhale, deep inhale up. Big exhale down. And then return to the center. We'll do some chest openers. We'll do those by extending our arms out in a goalpost and then bringing them in, keeping our elbows a little bit up toward our shoulders. So we inhale, bringing our elbows as far back as is comfortable, finding that sweet spot, and then exhale, bringing them together. Inhale, come back. Exhale, together. Inhale, come back. Strong exhale, bring your arms together. Inhale, come back. Exhale, bring the arms together. And we'll do that one more time. Inhale. Bring them all the way back. And then exhale, strong. Bring your arms together. And then bring your arms down. We'll come up into a tabletop position. So coming up onto our hands and knees. Wrists are right below our shoulders. Knees right below our hips. Evenly distribute your weight in your hands, spreading your fingers wide. Index finger reaching up toward or pointing up toward the top of the mat. Navel's tucked to the spine, creating a nice flat back. We'll go into some cat and cows here, rounding our back on the exhale. Lifting our head and tailbone up on the inhale for cow. Rounding our back and exhaling deeply for cat. Inhale, lifting our head and tailbone up for cow. And rounding our back for cat, exhaling deeply. And continue for a few moments at your own pace. And you can have your breath inhale and exhale evenly, or emphasize that exhale when you're going into your cat pose. And come back to a tabletop, bringing our knees together underneath our hips. We're going to extend our right leg up about hip height and check in with your hands. Make sure your weight's evenly distributed. And then lift your left arm up for bird dog. And then we're going to point for inhale and then flex our foot toward the mat for exhale. Point, inhale. Flex, exhale, point, inhale, 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 flex, exhale, and bring both hand and leg back down. We'll do that on the other side. And Lift your left leg up. Try to have your hip bones parallel with the mat, not turning your hip up toward the sky. Just keep them parallel with the mat. Toes pointed, hands check in with the even weight and kind of gently push down into the mat. Keep your shoulders away from your ears. Lifting your right arm up. Point inhale, flex exhale, 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 point inhale, and bring everything back down. We're going to lower our hips toward our ankles and come into an extended child pose, stretching our arms or fingertips toward the top of the mat. Just really stretch out your spine. This is the opposite of knees to chest. So we're talking about opposites in the morning. One of my favorite ways to start on the mat is knees to chest, but this works just as well because this is knees to chest, just in the opposite mode. And then come back up to tabletop and tuck your toes under. We're going to actually lift our knees off the mat and just let them hover there for a few moments. So just lift up, pushing down into your hands, and then bring your knees back down to the mat. And then inhale, lifting back up. Knees are hovering about, I'd say about 4 inches above the mat. And then bringing your knees back down. And we'll do that one more time. So bring your knees up about 4 inches off the mat and hover here. Navel's tucked to the spine. So you can feel that core energy working. And then bring your knees back down to the mat. We'll walk our hands back, keeping our toes curled under. Come up onto the balls of our feet, pushing down into the soles, coming up to mountain pose. And we'll go through our mountain essentials. Our essentials of good posture. Big toes are pointing to the long edge of the mat or straight edge of the mat. We're going to lift our toes up off the mat and spread them as far apart as you can. And then bring those toes back down in the mat, lifting our heels up off the mat, coming up, and then bringing our heels back down, really feeling that connection to the earth. Our legs are nice and straight and strong, with a gentle bend in our knee, navel's tucked to the spine, shoulders are relaxed and rolled back, spine is nice and long and tall. Chin is just tucked ever so slightly toward our chest. Crown of our head reaches up to the sky. And then take a deep inhale breath, bringing your arms up overhead. And then exhale, we're going to bring our hands down on the mat, bending our knees as we go. And as we land, just take a moment to check in. Feeling any tension this morning? Checking in to see how we are. And send some nourishing breaths to any part that might feel a little tense. And then inhale, bringing your hands up to your shins, flattening out your back, sending your gaze down. And then bringing the crown of your head down toward the mat and just letting your Hands hang here. Feeling gravity take over, stretching out your spine, your arms, your neck. Then inhale, sweeping our hands up overhead. We're going to come up onto our tippy toes and stretch toward the sky. And then bring our heels back down, bring our arms back down. We'll do a few sun breaths here, coming up on our tippy toes. So inhale, sweeping up, coming up onto the tippy toes. And exhale, coming back down. Inhale, sweeping up onto the tippy toes, stretch up to the sky, and then exhale, come back down. Inhale, sweeping up. One last time. Make that a nice big stretch, stretching up as high as you can. Woo. And then bringing your hands down and your heels down. That is also a balance pose. So we're going to sweep our hands up overhead and exhale, bring our arms back down, hands to the mat. Inhale, hands to your shins, half forward fold, flattening out your back. Then crown of your head reaches down toward the mat. And then sweep our hands all the way up overhead. Palms come together overhead. And we're going to take our right arm and our right hand and wrap it around our left wrist. And then we're going to guide our left hand over to the right side as we kind of poke our left hip out. And this is a standing side stretch as opposed to supported side stretch. And then come back up. Switch hands. Your left hand wraps around your right wrist. You're going to point your right fingers over to the left side. And you can pop your right hip out slightly to the right. And then back up. We'll do that each side again. So right hand around the left wrist, left fingertips go over to the right. And then inhale, come back up. Left hand around the right wrist, right fingers pointing over to the left. And then come back up. We'll sweep down our hands to the floor again. Inhale, half forward fold, hands are on your shins. Flat back, gaze is down, and then crown of our head goes down toward the mat, just hanging for a moment. And then sweep our hands up overhead, palms come together, and then palms come out in front of us, arms are extended out in front of us at shoulder height, and we'll do our 180 twist. So we're going to bring our right hand in a half circle, 180 degrees to the back of us. Bringing our left hand to our right shoulder. And then come back, bringing the right hand back to the front, meeting up with the left hand. We'll do that on the other side. So left hand makes a 180 degree circle to the back. Right hand comes to the left shoulder. And then come back to center. Make a nice, gentle, flowing movement. And we'll do that again. The right hand making that 180. Following the fingertips with your eyes if you can. And then bring your right hand back. Again, following fingertips with your eyes. Really focusing on your fingers. And then on the left side, 180 degrees. And then come back. And then lift your hands back up overhead, and we'll swoop down back, bringing our hands to the mat, bending our knees as we go, lifting our hands to our shins, flattening out the back for half forward fold, and then dropping the crown of our head down toward the mat. Then sweeping our hands up and overhead, palms come together, palms come to heart center, and then palms come to the back of your hips. With our feet hip width apart, we're going to have our fingertips pointing down, palms on the back hip bones. Spine is nice and straight. Shoulders are relaxed and rolled back, and then we're just going to tip back, keeping our chin tucked toward our chest. Just tip back until you can find that spot where you're still breathing nice and evenly. And then come back up. How's everyone doing? Our asana practice this morning, I'm going to do sun salutation A. There's 3 different sun salutations. We're going to do A and then tag on some more exercises at the end of that. And this is all intended to be done as we can in a flow. So I'm going to go kind of fast and hopefully not too fast that you can't keep up, and that I can still be able to talk. So we're going to sweep our hands up overhead, and then bring our hands down to the mat, forward fold, half forward fold, bringing our hands to our shins, forward fold, hands come to the mat, feet extend to the back, coming into plank. Wrists are right below your shoulders, navel's tucked to your spine, keeping those hips elevated slightly. And then we're going to come down to the mat gently, either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga, keeping your elbows tucked to the side. Then gently push, lifting our chin and chest up into cobra. Tucking our toes under, bring our hips up into downward dog. And pedal out here. The count of 3. 1, 2, 3. And walk your feet to your hands. Hands come back to your shin, half forward fold, really straightening out that spine. Forward fold, dropping your head down toward the mat. And then sweep your hands all the way up overhead. Palms come together and palms come to heart center. That's the sun salutation A. We'll do that again. So inhale, sweeping our hands up overhead. And exhale, bringing our hands down to the mat for forward fold. Bringing our hands to the shins for half forward fold. Straighten out our back. Hands to the mat, extend our feet to the back of the mat for plank pose. Navel's tucked to the spine, elbows are kept toward your ribs as you lower to the mat, chaturanga. Pushing down, gently lifting our chin and chest up, coming into cobra. Tucking our toes under, lifting our hips, coming up into downward dog. Pedal out here to the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, and walk our feet to our hands. Bring our hands to our shins for half forward fold, flattening out the back, and dropping the crown of our head down to the mat. And then sweeping our hands all the way up overhead, palms come together, palms come to heart center. And then we're going to open to the right, to the long side of the mat, pointing our toes to the corners of the mat. Heels are tucked in at 45 degrees. We're going to sweep our hands up into star pose. And then we're going to bend our elbows and our knees down into goddess. Navel's tucked in. Try to line up your back so it's nice and straight. And then up to star, inhaling all the way. Exhale back down to goddess. We'll pause here for a couple breaths. And back up for star. And then back down for goddess. And on this goddess, I'd like you to lift your left heel up off the mat. Put it back down. Lift the right heel up off the mat. Put it back down. And if you're able to, lift both heels up off the mat. And put them down. And then we're going to come back up to star, inhaling. Bringing our hands down to shoulder height. We're going to pivot our feet over to the left and come into warrior two. You're going to bend your front knee so the knee is right over the ankle. You're able to see your big toe. Back foot's nice and snug into the mat. We're trying to keep light and airy. Don't go around or get bogged down into this too much. And then we're going to straighten out our left leg, our front leg, and then reach our left hand forward and then bring it down for triangle pose. Sending our gaze up to our right hand, if that's possible. And then bring our hand back up and come back to warrior two. And then bring your left forearm down to your left thigh, bringing your right hand straight up. And if you're able to, you can bring your left hand all the way down to the mat for extended side angle. And then bring your right hand down, pivot so that you're in runner's lunge. And then bring your right foot up to meet your left foot in forward fold. And then sweep your hands all the way up overhead. Palms come together. Palms come to heart center. And we'll do that all on the other side. I'll go down this way. So sweep our hands up overhead. Exhale, bring our palms to the mat, forward fold. Inhale, half forward fold, hands to the shins. Exhale, bring your hands to the mat. Extend your feet out in back of you, coming into plank. Heels are pushing back, navel's tucked. Elbows are to the ribs, come down, chaturanga or knees, chest, chin. Push up into cobra. Tuck your toes under, lift your hips up into downward dog. Pedal out to the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Walk your feet to your hands. Hands come to your shins, flattening out your back. Hands come down to the mat for forward fold. Hands sweep up overhead. Palms come together. Palms come to heart center. We'll do that again. Sweep our hands up overhead. And exhale, bring your hands back down. to the mat. Inhale, bring your hands to your shins, half forward fold. Hands come down to the mat. Extend your feet to the back of the mat for plank. Navel's tucked to the spine. Wrists are right below the shoulders. Lower down, chaturanga, knees, chest, chin. And then gently lift your chest and chin up for cobra. Tuck your toes under, lift your hips up to downward dog. Pedal out here 3 times. 1, 2, 3, and walk your feet to your hands. Hands come to your shins, half forward fold. Hands come back down to the mat, forward fold. Sweep your hands all the way up overhead. Palms come together. Palms come to heart center. And then we'll open up to the side of the mat again, coming into wide-legged stance. Toes are pointing to the corners of the mat. Heels are tucked in, 45-degree angle. Sweeping our hands up to star. Big inhale, and then exhale. Bending our knees, bending our arms, come into goddess. Back is nice and straight. And then inhale, come back up. Stretch, and then exhale, come back down. And then inhale back up. And exhale back down. And we're going to lift our left heel off the mat. Bring that back down to the mat. Lift our right heel off the mat. And bring that back down. And then if you're able, lift both heels up off the mat. And bring those back down. Then we're going to come back up to star. Inhaling, and then lowering our arms to shoulder height. We pivot our feet to the right, coming into warrior 2. Knees over ankles, back foot's nice and snug. Again, we want to be light, we don't want to be bogged down. So turning your gaze to your right fingertips. We're going to straighten out our front leg, our right leg, and then send our right hand forward and then down into triangle pose. Sending our gaze up to our left hand if that's possible. And then bring ourselves back up to warrior 2. Bring your right forearm down to your right thigh, sending your left hand up straight to the sky, and then sending your right hand, if that's available to you, down to the mat. And then bring your left hand down, pivot to runner's lunge. And then bring your left foot up to meet your right foot, coming into forward fold. Sweeping your hands up overhead. Palms come together. Palms come to heart center. Now we bring our toes, pinky toes to the edge of the mat. Bring our hands to heart center. We're going to lower our hips down to the mat, toward the mat. Bringing our torso between our thighs. Elbows are tucked against our inner knee. And then sliding our hands in the prayer pose down toward the mat. Extending that wide-legged squat a little bit. And then bring our sit bones down to the mat. And we're going to extend our legs out straight in front of us, and we're going to roll down to the mat very, very slowly with control, one vertebrae at a time. I like to extend my arms out and then slowly lower down, one vertebrae at a time. And bring our arms overhead and just really stretch your hands up and your feet down. And then bring your knees to your chest and give them a nice hug and rock back and forth. Give your lower back a massage. And then we bring our left foot down to the mat, keeping our right knee to the chest. And then we're going to send our right leg up to the sky. And you can put your hands down alongside you with your palms down to kind of support this. And then we're going to bring our right foot down to the mat ever so slowly with the leg being extended. And become aware of your lower back, taking your navel to your spine to bring that lower back down toward the mat. And then we're going to lift that leg slowly up so that our toes are pointing straight up to the sky. Energizing both our legs. And then slowly bring that back down. Just be aware of every movement and how that affects your core around your waistline. Just feel it really activating that. Lifting your leg slowly back up, keeping your toe pointed up to the sky. And then slowly lowering it one more time. And then slowly raising it back up. And as you raise it back up, bring your hands behind your head, interlacing the fingers. You're going to create a hammock for your head. And as your foot reaches the sky or pointing toward the sky, you're going to bring your chin and chest up. You don't want any weight on your hands. It's just there to kind of support your head, but not to pull your head up toward your leg. So then we're going to bring our right leg back down as we lower our head to the mat. And then as we lift our leg up, we're going to lift our chin and chest up toward the leg. And then lowering it back down, keeping your elbows out to the sides as much as possible. And then we'll do this one more time, lifting our leg. And as we're lifting our leg, lifting our chest and chin up toward the leg. And then back down. And bring both knees to your chest and give them a nice hug. And we'll do that on the other side. So bring your right foot down to the mat. I'm going to send the left foot up toward the sky, pointing the toes, and then slowly lowering it down to the mat. Engaging our core as we go. Make sure that that lower back is reaching toward the mat. And then when you hit the mat, you just slowly keep that flow going as you raise it. And just do it as slowly as you possibly can. That's where the magic's going to happen. Help building your core. And then when you reach the top, lower it again. And as it reaches the bottom, slowly raise it back up again. And bringing it back down very slowly. Then we again bring our hands behind our head, interlacing our fingers. And as we bring our left foot up, toes pointed to the sky, we're going to lift our chin and chest up, keeping our elbows out to the side. And then slowly lower our foot and our head back down to the mat. And keep that flow going. So lifting your leg very slowly, lifting your chest and chin very slowly, really feeling that activation in your core. And then come back down. And one last time, lifting your leg up. Lifting your chest and chin up toward your leg. And then back down. And bring your knees to your chest. Give them a nice hug. Maybe rock a little bit. Massage your lower back. And then we bring our hands behind our head again. And our knees are close to our chest still. And we're going to send one leg out. Send your right leg out at an angle, reaching toward the bottom of the mat. And then as we do that, we're going to lift our chest and chin up and bring our right elbow to our left knee. Again, if you just even get your elbow halfway there, what I would like you not to do is to pull your head with your hands. So whatever works for you, the goal is to try to bring your right elbow to your left knee by lifting your chest and your chin. So then we're going to bring it back, bring our head down, bring our knee back. So both knees are over the chest. And then we'll do that. Extend the left leg out at an angle, keeping our navel tucked to our spine. And then we're going to bring our left elbow toward our right knee. And then bring them both back. And we're going to actually speed this up. So extend your right leg, left elbow to the left, our right elbow, left knee, and then back. And you can actually stay up in with your chest and chin as opposed to returning to the mat, if you like. And just keep going. And we're going to light the fire in our belly. So again, to counterbalance the earth and water, that mud season, we're going to do air and fire. We'll do this for a few moments. Keep it going in a nice, even flow. Again, if you feel yourself tugging on your head, just don't bring your elbow quite as far in. And this is a perfect opportunity to do the Kapalabhati breath too. You're really forcibly exhaling. It actually helps. Just a few more. Try to work up a little bit of a sweat here, like you're in a sauna. That's part of the detoxification. And relax back down. Knees to chest. Give them a nice hug. Maybe rock and roll your lower back. And then send your arms out at shoulder height. And we're going to exhale, lowering our knees to the right side. And then gently turn our head over to the left. Look at our left fingertips. And then gently bring our head back to center. Bring our knees back to center. Dropping our knees to the left side. And then slowly turn our head to the right to look at our right fingertips. And then slowly turn your head back to center. Bring your knees back to center. And then extend your feet down to the bottom of the mat and prepare for Shavasana. Sending your heels to the corner of the mat. Just let your feet flop open. And just take some big inhales and exhales. Releasing your knees into the mat. Big inhale and exhale, releasing your hips into the mat. Big inhale and exhale, releasing your shoulders into the mat. Arms are out at an angle, palms facing up. Big inhale and exhale, releasing the muscles in your face. Gently place a smile on your lips. And relax. For this morning's poem, I have some excerpts from the poem titled Two Tramps in Mud Time by Robert Frost. The sun was warm, but the wind was chill. You know how it is with an April day. When the sun is out and the wind is still, you're 1 month on in the middle of May. But if you so much as dare to speak, a cloud comes over the sunlit arch. A wind comes off a frozen peak, and you're 2 months back in the middle of March. A bluebird comes tenderly up to a light and turns to the wind to unruffle a plume. His song so pitched as not to excite a single flower as yet to bloom. It is snowing a flake, and he half knew winter was only playing possum. Except in color, he isn't blue, but he wouldn't advise a thing to blossom. The water for which we may have to look in summertime with a witching wand. In every wheel rut's now a brook. In every print, of a hoof, a pond. Be glad of water, but don't forget the lurking frost in the earth beneath that will steal forth after the sun is set and show on the water its crystal teeth.